Here's a reality check that might sting. NASCAR's most electrifying short track just delivered one of its most dramatic races in years, yet fewer people tuned in to witness the chaos. The Bass Pro Shops night race at Bristol Motor Speedway this past weekend tells a fascinating story about modern sports viewership that goes far deeper than simple numbers. Christopher Bell's hard-fought victory, punctuated by tire failures that had drivers sliding sideways through turns and debris scattered across the concrete, captured only 1.536 million viewers with a 0.79 television rating. To put this in perspective for those unfamiliar with TV ratings, that 0.79 represents less than 1% of all American households with televisions watching the race. Compare that to last year's Bristol night race, which drew 1.868 million viewers and earned a 0.98 rating, and you're looking at a drop of roughly 332,000 viewers. That's like losing the entire population of Cincinnati from your audience. But here's where it gets controversial. Despite this decline, NASCAR still claimed one of the weekend's top spots in sports viewership. The only programming that significantly outperformed it? Football. Both college and NFL games dominated the airwaves, which raises an uncomfortable question about America's sporting priorities. Think about this for a moment. Bristol Motor Speedway, often called the last great Coliseum, delivered exactly what racing fans crave. Bell's victory came after navigating treacherous conditions that saw multiple cars struggling with tire grip, creating the kind of unpredictable, edge-of-your-seat action that should theoretically draw massive audiences. The track's unique concrete surface and steep banking create a pressure cooker environment where anything can happen, and it did. Yet viewer numbers continue their troubling slide. And this is the part most people miss. This decline isn't happening in a vacuum. It's occurring during an era when NASCAR has arguably improved its on-track product, implemented exciting playoff formats, and featured some of the most talented drivers in the sport's history. So what's really happening here? Are we witnessing a fundamental shift in how Americans consume motorsports entertainment? Is the traditional television model failing to capture younger demographics who might be watching through streaming services or social media highlights? Or, and this might be the most controversial take of all, has football's stranglehold on American sports culture become so complete that everything else is fighting for scraps? The timing couldn't be more ironic. While NASCAR struggles to maintain its television audience, the racing itself has never been more competitive or technologically advanced. Bell's victory required not just raw speed, but strategic thinking about tire management, fuel conservation, and split-second decision-making under pressure, skills that rival any major sport. Here's what makes this situation even more intriguing. Bristol has historically been NASCAR's most reliable television draw. If this iconic venue, with its guaranteed close-quarters action and passionate fan base, can't buck the ratings trend, what does that say about the sport's broader appeal? Perhaps the real question isn't whether NASCAR can compete with football for viewers. That battle might already be lost. Instead, maybe we should be asking whether traditional television ratings even matter anymore in an increasingly fragmented media landscape. After all, how do you measure the impact of race highlights going viral on TikTok, or the value of international streaming audiences that don't show up in domestic ratings? But let's be honest about the elephant in the room. There's probably a generational divide at play here. Older NASCAR fans grew up when Sunday afternoon racing was appointment television, while younger sports fans have seemingly gravitated toward the instant gratification and fantasy football connections that the NFL provides. What do you think is really driving this ratings decline? Is NASCAR losing relevance in modern American culture, or are we simply measuring success by outdated metrics? And here's the controversial question that might spark some heated debate. If you had to choose between watching cars race wheel to wheel at 150 miles per hour or football players grinding out a 3-yard gain? Which would genuinely hold your attention longer? Sound off in the comments. I have a feeling this one's going to divide the room.